I'm Mark Messimer. I'm the director of outreach services or industry relations for MLS Listings. I've been with the organization for coming up on 20 years. Started out as the training manager, and now not only do I have the training group underneath me, which is the part of the company that's helping you today, but I also have the communications team, the digital studio, which Dave works out of, and communications as well and marketing. So, and who is the real Dave Scalora?
No, thanks. Great to be here. Yeah, I don't have quite the 20 years mark you've got, but close to it. I got about 15.
Real
So,
close.
yeah. So, and most of those years I started compliance, but most of the years have been under you and outreach. And yeah, I do a lot of the video work, and you probably
Yep.
might hear my voice in a lot of those videos, but also do the coffee talk and. I'm sure see I'm always not too far away in a brokerage meeting if Mark or Michelle are there. I'm usually probably pretty close by. So
Yeah, and you've worked with all six associations not only at their marketing meetings, but the sales the brokerages inside of each association. You've been there, done that, as they say.
definitely, definitely.
Um,
So yeah. Uh,
So today, Dave, we've been asked to take a look at, you've got a listing, and we all know you're going to use listing management to put the listing in, right? That's the way it goes. But Dave, there are a lot of other tools and services or functionalities inside of listing management that sometimes aren't known about.
Sure. And list management is pretty vast, right? So it's a pretty vast product, I guess you call it. But yeah, and so a lot of tools, there's uh, especially new partnerships that we've had even in the last year. Cuba Casa is one of them. Floor plans that's really it been taken off, and you see most, a lot of the listings nowadays, have has the floor plans in AR to
Right.
study and floor plans. They ask people, what were you expecting? And right behind photos was floor plans. So
Yep.
floor plans has been very popular, and they have a really nice, easy service. That's just an app. You walk through the house. So a lot of agents have been enjoying using that. A lot of different apps. Oh, there we go. Nice little thing here. So yeah, so we're lucky to
The
have so
app
many good
chart.
vendors. Yeah, look at that thing. That's nice. But yeah, as you can see here, whether it's the mobile, we got MLS Touch, but the left-hand side, prospects, realtor.com, Paragon. There's so many. And the nice thing is that we have such great relationships with these vendors that a lot of the times we have them on every week to go ahead and do a kind of a highlight of their services there, and we put that up on YouTube for those that can't make it. But nice right from there. Symbium was one. It's ADUs and so forth. So
Yeah, the
a lot
AU
of great
tool.
relationships
Yeah.
that I'm seeing on here. You can see here line showings, of course. Yeah, rent spree and line showings, things that are built into listing management that that you can use there. So if you do need, Rinspree does tenant screening and the whole kind of comprehensive thing. And of course, we have our own showing tool. You might have your own, but if you need one, we have showing tools.
Yep.
Oculus disclosures. The list is a very
It's
vast list.
extensive. And Dave, certainly we can't train on all of these today, but we're going to be using that chat room here on Zoom to put in links to the video library. And
Definitely.
you're the intricate part of the video library over on our YouTube channel, and it's so important that agents, whether buyer or seller, subscribe to or follow that channel.
Yeah, we've got short videos. If it's just looking for like, hey, how do I do this quick little thing? We have a lot of little on demand, 4 or 5 minutes, just get to that one thing. We have the longer videos, and for a lot of these vendors, we've got basically they come on for about 45 minutes, usually 30 to 45 minutes, and do all the nuts and the bolts and bells and whistles and name it from it's just really nice to have them because like I said, we trained on RPR and a lot of different services, but it's
Right.
nice when their trainers just obviously know the most updated stuff and some of the Easter eggs, and so we really capitalize on our relationships with
You
these
bet.
vendors.
Um,
So
so Dave, let's dive in. We the you've got a listing. You did the listing presentation. You won the agreement with that seller. And Dave, the
yeah,
first place people are going to start is deciding how to come to market. because once again, this is one of those tools built inside of listing management. Yes, you got to put the beds and the bath and the square footage and all that kind of stuff. But David, the nuances today is all about how does the seller want to come to market?
Right. Like we call it kind of throttling sometimes. So we use that word. But you have a lot of options when you come to market, right? So the first off is, well, first off, you always have the choice of not listing it, right? So some sellers, you may choose to say, hey, I don't want to list it for whatever reason, privacy concerns, and you can see, so there is an office exclusive. The only thing is you have to keep in mind that clear cooperation, right? So, as soon as you start marketing it outside of your office, at that point, clear cooperation kicks in, and
Right.
you got to get, then you need to go ahead and put it on. But that is an option, right? If you're not planning on marketing it much outside of your office, you can go ahead and exclude it, keep it off there.
You
Um,
bet. Now, Dave,
sometimes
on
it's
that
just
topic,
for,
though,
oh yeah,
on
go
that
ahead.
topic, we've got, there was a recent change. Clear cooperation has shifted and modified, molded over the years since 2020. And one of the most recent changes, well, back in 2020, you couldn't talk about this listing outside of your brokerage. You could
Right.
talk to the person in the next cube over, you could talk to the person in the next office over, but you couldn't walk across the street, even though your best buddy sold for another brokerage. You couldn't just walk across the street and talk to them about it. You had to stay within your own brokerage. The recent change is, and it's the fourth item down, I can send an email now. I can do one-to-one marketing
Yeah.
with an agent from another brokerage.
Yeah, it's a key point. So yeah, you could have one-to-one like communications, right? Not a mass email to everybody, right?
Right, one to
But
200. Yeah.
yeah, but if it's a one-to-one communication, then that does not violate clear cooperation. And you could have it excluded. Now, you might exclude it for, maybe temporary. Sometimes agents just exclude because, hey, I got to do
Sure.
renovations and I'm just not ready for any kind of marketing yet anyway. So I'm going to exclude it, right?
Right, right,
But that leads kind of into our next flavors, which is the members only, right? Um, so now all of a sudden the members only gives you that flexibility because maybe, hey, I do maybe need to do renovations, but I
right.
want to market it. I'm ready to
You
kind
want
of,
to, yeah, get the buzz going.
right. So I'm ready to kind of go. I'm just not ready to full on syndicate and all that, but I want to get the buzz a little bit going. And there's a lot of perks to members only. So we have the active members only and the do not show as well, right? So do not show is exactly that. Right, you put it on the MLS. Now you can go and market it however you want off the MLS. You can do
Right,
whatever you want, right? But remember, we're not syndicating do not show or shows. So members only, we're not sending out to the public, right? Um, but yeah, you go put it's on there. So now that satisfies clear cooperation, and you can go ahead. The
yep.
days on market doesn't run, right?
Which is
Um,
a big consideration.
Oh, huge, huge. Now that you don't, because you could be in members only show or do not show, for instance, right? And let's say you have it in there for 30 days and then you decide you want to move it to active, right? You got all your renovations done, you did what you had to do to seller, you're all ready, all right, and you can move it to a full active. And then we syndicate it to all over the place, and it's going to send everywhere, so it's going to show up on all the sites. At that point, we don't show the history. We don't show that there was ever in members only, right?
Right,
So it's like unless you happen to see it in members only, you're not going to know it was ever in there. And that's another point is you might have come into the market under members only at $1 million or so as a testing point, kind of dipping your toes in the water and then testing how you think it is. And then maybe when you go to fully active, you change it to, let's say, 1.2 million, right?
right,
All of a sudden, now your list price is 1.2 million. You got 0 days on market, right? And nobody will ever see in the history that you were marketing it at 1 million, right? So we don't include any of that history of the members only, right? So you got a brand new days on market reset. The history goes away and it's a fresh new listing, right? So a lot of advantages, but we should keep in mind that it's great to have that flexibility if you need it for members only, but 85-90% of our listings is just active, right? Hey, I'm ready to go active, syndicated all over the place, and I'm off and running. So but it's good to have those options, right? For a lot of agents that, just want to be able to do some marketing and not run afoul of clear cooperation and get it out there. And the fact that the days on market's not rolling is a huge
Right.
thing, right?
Right.
Nobody wants days on market, because you come out and say, "Oh my God, I've got 20 days on market. What's wrong?"
Now, Dave, there's a new members only brewing, um,
Right,
with the agreements that are being made between brokerages and the portals, right? The Realtor.coms, the Zillows, the Redfins, and so on, Homes.com. They're going to have those preview listing agreements. Um,
right.
we are building up a new product called Members Only Plus, which allows the brokerage and the listing agent to take advantage of those agreements that they've made with the portals right within the listing management tool.
Right, because you've all seen maybe the headlines, and it's a lot of moving parts, right? And you got Redfin, and you got this, and Zillow, and everybody's, So we've just been looking for a solution wise, and what we're coming out with is Members Only Plus coming out in early July, maybe early to mid July,
That's correct.
um, and that's going to allow brokerages to then go ahead and, according to whatever to agreements they have, they'll be able to choose the broker what syndication or what portals the
Right.
members only will go to,
Right. So
and
this is
that
one of
will
those check with your broker, check with your office manager kind of thing.
right, right, and so that's going to be the next big thing in a couple of weeks coming up, and hopefully that will be a nice solution. The listing agent's still going to have final say in terms of yes or no on syndication, right? Just like they always do. When
Right.
you're in said listing management, right? And that was another thing that even maybe changed just recently. We used to default it, right, Mark, to yes,
Correct.
and now we're back to okay, you need to say yes or no. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that, because there are some extra options there that now I think agents are starting to wake up to.
Well,
Uh, be,
David, let's go there now because that's another one of those. It's an additional tool. It's built inside of listing management, but it
right.
is one of those additional tools that listing agents need to use and have that chat with their seller. And Dave, when I let them know this, remember we know that you're out competing against one of the other 16,000 members in MLS listings.
Sure.
But little tips like this that we're about to give you are what can really separate you from the agent who doesn't come to a score training event.
Yeah,
Uh,
no doubt.
right?
No doubt. Yeah, this is I was kind of shocked because we kind of brought it up, Mark, and then a lot of people with the room we were in were like, seemed to be kind of this is all new to me.
Right.
And and,
Right.
and so I think a large part was because it was always defaulted to yes. A lot of
Correct.
people didn't bother to look into that section,
Just
right?
just kept going through. And David
Right.
has to do with the I'll use a brand name from one of the portals, right? Of what a portal is. The Zillow's estimate. That's probably, that's sort of the
Sure, everybody.
generic name these days for the automated value model.
Right, right. And it's an algorithm, right? And so Zillow's got a Z estimate, Redfin's got whatever they call it, but it's basically an AVM. It's all automated valuation models, aka, it's their algorithm where they pump in, it's kind of like sausage making, they pump in a bunch of data points and it comes out the other end, and that's what they think the house is worth, right?
Right. And we
Um,
know, like all of our realtor subscribers know, Redfin, Homes.com, and Zillow, they've never even been to the property. They have
right.
no idea what it's like. And it's really, I think, a great example, Dave, of where you and I happen to have grown up in Saratoga, because you can be down on the Highway 9, Saratoga Sunnyvale Road level of Saratoga, or
Right.
you could be up the mountain, just a half a mile and have that incredible view of Silicon Valley. Um, the
Yeah.
map doesn't know the view.
Yeah, it's only yeah, it just knows what you tell it kind of, and it doesn't really know anything more than that. Obviously, it's just an algorithm. So you're exactly right. It's just not going to know. It's not going to have the information, the kind of detail that an agent knows, right?
Right.
And a good agent's going to know their territory and know the difference between the other side of the freeway and
Right.
right on Highway
So
9, that kind of a thing.
exactly, exactly. So now here comes the problem. because the agents know, because the agent is familiar with the neighborhood and all that kind of stuff, they've put the house on the market at the fair market value. In this case, we're using an example of 2.5 million. But look at those are actual properties. By the way, guys, I went to the three portals and pulled up the same property on each one because I got three different prices, right?
Right,
So
right.
those prices just cloud the negotiation. They mess up the understanding. People are saying, well, why not? Why don't you sell it for what the Zillow price is? All that kind of stuff, David. But the key thing
Right.
is this: you can turn it off.
Yeah, yeah, you can simply disable it. And so right in here, marketing and photos there, and then there's distribution preferences, right? And so like we were saying, do you want this on the internet? Now you have to answer that question, yes or no. And then you can see Val virtual office website dash IDX, right? And so you can say yes or no to it. And
Right?
so IDX public facing, right? Websites, right? Redfin and Zillow, you name it. Valve's virtual office websites are often, what is it? You can't go to and open a door, right? They
Yeah,
don't
there's
have
no
a brick
brick
and
and
mortar.
mortar.
They're in
Yeah,
the cloud. They're in the internet, right? It's just a website, right? But you can simply say no to that. So, and we had even remember one agent told us, I do it right according to if it's higher or lower than my list price,
correct.
which makes a lot of sense, right? So obviously I go in my list if it's lower than my list price, right? It's different than so you can do it according to each listing or whatever makes sense. But all you have to do is say yes or no. Say no, then it's not going to be allowed to display their value. Just your list price will be on the site,
Right.
right? That we send over. But nothing else will be allowed. Same with comments, right? So comments, agents can go ahead or the public can write comments, and sometimes you get some sour grapes or maybe competition or just a nasty comment on it. And I've had an agent who said, oh my God, somebody went and said, oh, really trashed the listing. It was kind of a competitor type of thing at the time. And somebody said, and so we just flipped it to no. 15 minutes later, it was gone. So at
Yep.
any point, you can say yes or no. It doesn't even have to be at the beginning. You might choose to just say, maybe you said yes to comments or about, and then, okay, all of a sudden you decide, I got to get that off of there. So this isn't working for me. Just go in and change it to no. And just about every site nowadays is refreshing their data within 15 minutes,
Yep.
some within an hour. I think the rules are no greater than 12 hours. And so it's gonna be refreshed real quick once they update that data, and then bye bad comments or the ability to do comments and valuation models. So
Yep.
that's a big it's a big
That's
thing
a
to
big one.
know. And you could also advise your clients about, hey, we're doing this. I'm sure there'll be um,
It's part of that marketing discussion, when you're doing the listing presentation or you've gotten, you've proven yourself to that seller and now you're into how are we taking it to market. This is one of those little things that's tucked inside of listing management, but has a huge impact on the marketing. And I
yeah.
really do think, David, that the agents that know it have boosted themselves on the competitive level versus the agents that don't know it.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it can cause a lot of problems when, you're telling them based off your knowledge this price, but then they go and they see three different values out there, right? That kind of a thing can cause a lot of confusion. So
Right. Dave, folks can use that chat room, right? If they've got any questions.
I believe, yeah, I see chat at the bottom. Feel free to come off mute or just put it in chat if you have any questions. If you have anything, specific, you want to go over, it doesn't even have to be what we're talking about. If you had a question on Matrix, we'll answer it for you. So,
I
Okay,
have a
so
question.
yeah.
So, what is the pre-marketing while it is in do not show status?
The do not show. So when you're a members only do not show, um, so at that point, the do not show, and I'm assuming you're meaning like what am I allowed to do in terms of marketing? Um,
Yeah, pre-marketing. Like, can we um, do a coming soon poster on the Facebook or?
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, no, anything like that, just about really anything. A coming soon, anything, even if you put a sign as a coming soon, triggers clear cooperation. So it's, the only thing you can really do is obviously internally within the office, you're free to discuss it. And then also, the one-to-one outside of the office. So if you send an email to specific, and that could be, I mean, honestly, I guess you could do it, 10 different agents as long as it's one-on-one at a
As long
time.
as it's one email to each one,
One
yeah.
is one-to-one, they're permitting it. And so, that would be allowed. But any kind of thing else really triggers, hey, now you have to put it on the market. It even
But
gosh,
that's for the excluded listing, right? And as soon as I move into members only, I can put a sign out front.
oh, sorry, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was excluded. Yeah, members only now. Once you're actually in members only, sorry, that was for exclusion. Members only, right? You can go do anything you want to do in terms of marketing it while it's in members only. So, members only, no show or show. You can have a coming soon rider out front. Right. If it's do not show, it should be a coming soon rider. But you could have a sign out front. You could have flyers going out. You could do whatever you want. There was really no limitations. The only thing you can't do is in do not show, you can't show the property,
Right. You
right?
can't let somebody step into the house. They can look in the window. You can show them a video. You can show them 200 pictures, but they just cannot step across the door frame.
Right, right. Because you could even sell the property. Hey, it could be in the members only show or do not
Yeah.
show. Somebody shows up with a suitcase of cash. You can take it, right? All right. And so, and of course, you can present the offer. And then at that point, you might have to move it to active, fully active to satisfy the rules. But yeah, to answer your question, yeah, that's the beauty of members only, really, is now that you've satisfied clear cooperation by putting it into this category, right? It's going to show up in auto emails and member searches, this listing. And in terms of marketing, it gives you the flexibility to go ahead and even if you're not maybe really ready for syndicating it all out everywhere, at your pace now, you get to market it right while it's in those and do whatever you like in terms of marketing.
So
So
if we do open house for the neighbors exclusively, do we have to put it in the active status then?
You
Or
could
how
be in
how long
members
do we
only
have?
show.
yeah, if you're in members only show, then you can show the property. You can do open houses. Not a problem. Yeah, it could
You
be
can
to
do open
anybody.
houses for neighbors?
Yeah, no, just doesn't as long as it's not in do not show. If it's in show, yeah, there's no difference between showing it in terms of what you consider an open house or just consider it showing it to one-on-one at a time or whatever you're gonna do. But yeah, that's acceptable in members only show. Just don't do it in do not show. Otherwise, somebody's gonna complain and they tell you to move it to show or active.
No, if it's in members only show,
Mhm.
and can I do a public open house?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I see no reason why you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole thing about show is you're showing the property, right?
Yeah.
And
The
so yeah,
only the only thing I'll interject, Dave, is the only difference between members only, or a couple of differences between members only show and active, is primarily syndication. The
right,
members only show listings not going to Zillow and Realtor.com and Redfin and all those guys. So it's not being syndicated. And in members only show, the days on market are not being shown. Um, when you
right.
move to active, now you've got the syndication going and you've got the days on market, is starting to accumulate. Your price history is now exposed, that kind of stuff. So that members only show is sort of, you're still behind the curtain. They can't fully see you. The second you go active, the curtain opens up and you are now in the public environment.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, but yeah, in terms of showing, hey, I don't know of any limitations while you're in show. Members only show. Members only do not show. Different story. Yeah, but
So I have a question on that. That when we go for members only, and then we put a remark to the all the agents that hey agents, like this Friday we have open house. So that will be that meaning that all the real estate agent only can come to the property and
right. Yeah,
visit,
listen, sure. Yeah,
right?
listings. Yeah, so yeah, you could say you could hey, we're having an open house there, we're showing the property. Right. The only thing that's not happening is we're not sending that open house information to Redfin and all these sites like we
Correct.
normally do if you're in active status, right? But
Correct.
but you could go ahead and maybe you have a flyer out there telling everybody, hey, I got an open house this weekend. Sure, not a problem.
Okay, so conclusion is that directly the buyers cannot come to know because we are not disclosing on Redfin, Zillow, or Realtor.com. So only the agents are knowing, and they will be visiting, and that is the purpose, right?
Yeah, I mean, they could bring buyers, right? There's nothing that prohibits them, but right, generally, buyers who are looking at Zillow or Redfin, the public sites, yeah, they won't know about it unless somebody tells them, right?
That's
Got it.
correct.
Got it. Got it.
Yep.
Got it. Thank you.
And that's really that, Dave, that throttling effect, right?
Right.
I don't want to go all the way out, but I do want some consumers coming in. Now I'm starting to get price feedback from agents that have brought agents in. And so when I do go active and I do pull back the curtain for everyone to see, my price is dialed in. I haven't collected a lot of days on market. In fact, you've collected none because they don't show. It's all this is one of those aspects, and I really do have to say to the benefit of MLS listings, you will not find this concept, Dave, at a lot of other MLSs.
Sure.
We're pretty inventive because we went to the agents, we went to the brokers and said, "What do you need?" In the world of clear cooperation, how do you need to come to market? How can we build the MLS around that?
Yeah, in terms of days on market, we had different phases when we rolled it out originally, and it was kind of a work in progress trying to say, okay, how does this harm sellers?
Right.
How does this right? And we worked in an agent said, hey, this is really, and it's maybe not perfect, but hey, it's a pretty good system. It gives a lot of flexibility, I think, and it seems to be working. So we'll see what happens in addition when we add up members only plus all that onto it. But yeah, they're certainly correct on the showing. So
Absolutely.
I know. Oh, go ahead.
For the open house, we cannot do the email blast. So how do we advertise for the open
Well,
house if
that's
it's
the thing.
members?
At that point, I mean, there's a few different ways that you could do it.
If you're in the show category, right, Dave?
Yeah, in the
Members
show
only
category, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in members only show. Yeah, so however you want to mark, whether it's a flyer at the local grocery store or whatever it is. I can show you one way one way you might want to do it. Like for instance, let me just share my screen real
You
quick.
bet,
I'll
Dave.
just do it real quick here. Show my screen and let's pop on in here. Okay. I got too much stuff open. There we go. Eventually I'll get to Matrix. Here we go. So real quick, here's one thing you could do, and this is the power of public records, right? If I go right into Matrix, I don't even have to leave our system here. Up in the top here, we have a search public record right here. Right.
Mhm.
So you could go into public records here within Matrix. We also have Realist, right? Which is this basically we've taken Realist data, which is our public records tool, right? And we've stuck all this info right into Matrix. So I'm just going to do it right into Matrix, but I could also go into Realist and do this. But I could pop in. Let's go to I could do a map search here and pop in an address. I'm just going to pick an address I know. It's in San Jose.
How many times have you sold 1275 Dentwood, Dave?
About 50,000 times. So this is just right in San Jose here, right? And so, here's every single parcel, right? Here they are. And in this case, what I'll do here is I'll use a radius tool. And let me go ahead and let's just say you want to go ahead and go out a certain amount of way, and let me shrink it down here, make it a little easier to read. But you see all these here, and maybe I'll go out like a mile or however you wanted to do it. Now, one of the criteria that changes I'm going to do here is I'm looking for renters, right? So I'm going to say owner occupied, no. So all the renters, that live by, maybe nearby, but love the neighborhood, or maybe are ready to buy now, right? And I could go ahead, and if I look at the map now, you can see it changed a bit, right? And so it's taken away all those other houses. These properties here represent the property. The owner of the house is living somewhere else, right? The mailing address is different than the property address. So it's probably an income property. They're probably renting it out. So all these people, maybe I want them to know I have got this property and I'm having an open house. So I could go ahead and go to the results now, right? And all I have to do is down below here. Let's see here. I'll select them all here. Right. So you just select them, and then down below, hit that print button. And what we have here is we've got the
mailing labels.
The label
Nice.
labels. Yeah. So all you have to do is now in this case, I don't want to send it to the tax billing address, right? I want the renters. So I'm going to send it to the occupant at the property address, right? And so just select it, hit print to PDF, and you're going to see right here, there they are, to the current resident, right?
Yep.
That simple. And now I can go and then just whatever you're going to send them, a flyer, whatever it is. And now you can go ahead and it's just a matter of, do you want to do it within a mile or whatever, half mile of the property? That's up to you. But a great way to go ahead and use public records to get all those people living right within a mile or so and let them know you've got an open house, right?
Yep.
And hey, and we know they're renting already, right? And so maybe they're ready to buy and get them over there. So that's just one way to do it. Just wanted to show you that one.
Sandra's had her hand up for a bit.
Oh, yeah. Definitely want to go to Sandra. And I think we have a chat one as well, but let's start with Sandra and then we'll answer the next question.
Well, I want to jump in on that question that she just asked. It seemed like it's a conflict of, I don't know, interest is the word I want to use, or a conflict on how this works. If you're going to do an open house and you say it's members only, but yet we can still advertise without putting it on the internet, aren't we going against the grid here? It's a little confusing here.
It's walking the line, I guess you could say. It's the whole thing was meant to give agents flexibility, right, and to be in compliance with clear cooperation, right? Even the part about now you can send one-on-one is kind of controversial. You ask a lot of agents, right? But right, the only thing is that you're how you're doing it. We're not sending that open house information out to the public, obviously. It's how you get that info out to the public is either a flyer or something you're doing. But yeah, the really only difference is the syndication. We'll see. I don't know. Things change. We'll see if they maybe look at that in the future. But I don't know, Mark, is there anything else we can really say on that? I know it's
no, I think that pretty well covers it. But as we've seen in the chart that we showed earlier, but that showed office exclusives, members only do not show, members only show in active. Each time you move forward towards active, you peel away a little bit of the filter that's keeping the consumer out. Right? It's always up to the professional, to the member of the MLSs to guide their own marketing, stay compliant, but guide their own marketing with their seller. We're just providing you with today, on this Monday, with 4 different options of how to come to market. The 5th one is about to come if you belong to one of the brokerages that's working directly with the portals and their preview program. So yeah, it can sound a little conflicted, but it is you are, by using these 4 different listing types, you are in compliance with the MLS rules, the CAR rules, and the NAR rules as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good question, though, Sam.
Yeah.
It's I've thought the same thing. So, but let's see here. Amitra has got her hand up,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to go to Sherry's question after that.
One more thing to add on to that is that after doing the open house, is there a limit to, is there a rule that we have to come active within a certain days or something?
No, you can
There's
keep
no-
it in members only, and you can send it. There's no time frame, so
No
there's
time
no
frame.
60, 90 days. No, you can keep it in either category. Members only, do not show, or show. There's no limitations.
So it's basically you're not syndicating it, and it's like a private listing, but not so. But
it's it's all in MLS, and so we remember beforehand we used to have a bulletin, and then Clear Cooperation got put in, and that was NAR, right, who put in Clear Cooperation, and we found ourselves with like 600 properties on this bulletin board, and we were like, we can't have 2 MLSs plus the old stuff wasn't integrated into Matrix, so it wouldn't show up. You couldn't send it out to a client. It wouldn't show up in an auto email. And that's when we said, okay, we got to integrate those in. And they came up with the whole members only show and do not show. But it'll show up in the, auto emails. I like to think of it as a little ammo, right, for an agent to be able to talk to the public and say, who nowadays maybe you're talking to somebody, a potential client, and saying, well, why do I need an agent, right? I could go to Zillow. I can go to Redfin. But the answer is, show me where you can see this whole inventory of coming soons, right? Because they're not on there, right? But like I said, things right now, we'll see how things will play out in the. I'm sure everyone's seeing the headlines, and we've got members only plus coming in the next couple of weeks, which will add, some more, hopefully a solution to it all. But it's an interesting. So I did want to get to Sherry's Sherry's had a question. How can I search that save for auto emails? By doing it on to a client or ground floor condo only. I
This
can't
is
find.
David. This is so right in your wheelhouse. This
Oh
question.
yeah, this is
This is your baby.
this is also right into the whole listing manager discussion here. And so now the thing is, she's asking for a ground floor condo, okay, only,
Okay.
right? And so I'm getting a lot of second floor and higher floor units when that's only purchased a ground floor unit. So let's take a look because, and that's actually we'll start with. Let me share my screen again.
And Dave, as you're setting up, I think it's important to note that for you listing agents that have a condo on the ground floor, you use listing management to make sure that Sherry can find your listing, right? Because if you don't check the box that Dave's going to show you on the matrix side of the world, if you don't check that the unit is on a ground floor, Sherry's not going to be able to find you. And
Yeah,
this is, because Dave, you're going to find it
yeah.
via matrix, but it's
So
got
this
to go
always
in via
starts,
listing
yeah.
management.
So it always start. We'll start by kind of explaining here how about additional fields, right? This is what it's coming down to. So what we're doing there is this is like advanced filtering, right? And so you can see here, I've got all these. I've added all these, so I can filter. But essentially, anything you can search for and listing management that's in listing management, you can filter for, right? So for instance, I think an example here on like single families, the same kind of example would be right here. Is let's see, where is it here? I think it's under bedrooms. Like maybe you have your mother, grandmother, maybe, and she can't be on a second story, right? So you can see here a number of floor and building, but also right there I've got so I could choose, hey, I need a ground floor bedroom, right? So those kind of things, right, in the house. There's so many here, right? Between all these filters I've added here. Just as some examples here. One great example we always use it's a good one for me was during COVID, and we had to have an agent's like, I've got to have a workshop, right? And so they're like, well, how do I find that? All these listings, and do I have to read the remarks on each one and look at each? And so what we found was under parking, there is workshop and garage. And that actually turned out to be the winner, right? But the question is, how do I know where to search, where to filter? Because how would I know workshop and garage is in parking, right?
Yeah, that's a interesting alignment.
Right. How would I know if a fixer upper, right, is under property condition, right? Because if I add these, right, if I type in the word fixer, for instance, right, nothing comes up, right? So it's not that smart. I think parking, parking spaces, but yeah, it's certainly, and so there's different ways. And so what I've done here is just right here is I've gone into listing management, right? And I'm just going to pretend like I'm adding a listing here. I'm not going to actually submit it, but I'm just going to go add listing, right? A new regular listing, let's say, and in this case, residential, right? And this time, I guess we'll go, was it a condo that
Yeah, it
condominium,
was.
right? And so here we can go ahead now and we can essentially search it right here using these keywords, right?
Okay,
And
so to
so,
find to see this can be a bit confusing, Dave. So to find where a field is in matrix, you
right.
went back to sort of the headwaters, right, where every listing starts, and asked it where when I click ground floor, where did you put it?
Yeah. So like when I did parking, this is how I found the parking one. I typed in parking and here was all the parking or sorry, I don't not parking, but when I wanted a workshop, I typed in workshop and there it tells me,
There it
okay,
is.
you can find parking, right? Or workshop, sorry, in all these values. And one of them is parking right there. So
Cool.
parking, other structures, right? So those would be the ones. And if I select it here, you know, other structures, that's going to show me right there. And I can just select it, right?
Okay.
Same with fixer. When I type in the word fixer, here's where it is. Oh, the property condition. I click on it and I learn, okay, it's under property condition. One of the keys though is it a required field? because if it's not, just keep in mind you're not getting maybe all the data, and that goes back to what you said, Mark, is be thorough when you input your listing, because agents are going to use these additional filters, right, to search for some of the more advanced characteristics on properties they need. And if you didn't take the time to do that, you might not show up in a search as opposed to another agent who took the time to fill in everything, right? So let's see now, in this case, now let's try to find, so we're in condos. I guess what would be the best way to do this here?
So Sherry was saying that it sounds like she's doing the search right along with you, playing at home, as they say. And she's not finding ground floor.
Let's see. I wonder, ground floor. Let's see if we have, and this is kind of let's see here, lot description, government parking, ground spas. You can see there's a lot there. Primary bedroom on ground floor. Let's see here. Yeah, because in this case, we're looking for ground floor right on the whole condominium complex, right? Let's see. I might just select one of these and see what it is. I think unit. That would have been maybe if it said unit features. I was thinking on like ground floor. So this is a good one. This is a tough one. Let's see here. So the unit features. Let's see if we can find it.
Okay. So I've got it in lot. For some reason, lot description has ground floor.
Okay.
According to listing management.
Let's see. Lot description. And so there's lot description, and you said it's right there. Let me see here. And there's ground floor. Okay. I wonder if that's it. And let's see. And there's always tips right here in terms of, well, a lot of times what they're talking about. And okay, and which the subject property is located. So that sounds like what we were looking for. That would be the one. All right. And so we would do ground. So in this case, right, lot description. So let's give it a shot in Matrix here. And let's see what we get. And so I'm
pull
going
it up on the Matrix side. Okay.
Back, right? And so condo, right? And let's go ahead, active condo. And what we're going to do here is, if I haven't already added, I'm going to see here, I'll add lot description. And then we'll choose it. There's lot description. And we'll hit add. And okay, I already have it added. I should have known. I've got just about everything added on there. Lot description. Let's see. Let's find it. And you can always move these up and down. So, make it easier on yourself. If you use certain ones more, you might want to move them to the top, right? As opposed to just, having them all over the place. There's lot description. There it is. There. So lot description, and let's go with that's ground floor. There it is. Okay, and I'm going to select it, and let's see what we get. Well, that's not a great sign. Not a great sign though, because well, I mean, I haven't even put it in a location, but let me just take a look at these 8 are, and let's see San Jose, Cornwall. So let me just try this one here. Let's see here. But I do believe this is probably the correct filter, and so that would be. I tell you what, I'll also Sherry, I'll play around and see if I can find anything in addition to that offline, and let you know. But I think that's pretty much. I think that's going to be our best bet for ground floor on a condo.
I'll check with our product management team.
Yeah, part of the problem I think it is it looks to be the correct way. The problem is it's not a required field. Right. And I don't think many agents, when they're putting in the condos, are bothering with saying what it is. That's my guess, right? But because you can see though, those 8, that does appear to be the right one, and we can check with Geoffrey, our product manager, and see if he can find one else. So hopefully we can find a little bit something else. Otherwise, it might just be because it's not required that agents, that we only have 8, but that's how you if you ever want like something like that, right? You've got that characteristic they're trying to search for that's very specific. Use these additional filters, use listing management to figure out where it's at, and then hopefully it's a required field. Then you're getting all the data, but otherwise you can use it and see what you get. And hopefully, there's other things like remarks in here and other stuff that you can use as well. Public remarks, you can search. It's just so much. Basically, the entire. I think there's like 600 of these things you can use. I think I've got about 100 of them on here. So, um, yeah, that's so. Yeah, I wish I could have got more results for you there using that, but that did appear to be the right one. So,
Now, Dave, I'm doing a search using the public remarks.
okay.
And when I search for the word ground, I am getting active condominiums um, that have the word ground in the public remarks. I'm get
Oh, you know what? One
no, I'm
thing.
getting it's a mix. It's a real mix. Some are on the ground and some are not. Because remember, they could use the ground. They can use, nice grounds, right? Community ground, that kind of stuff. So you still got to be careful with it. But public remarks is a searchable field.
Yeah, yeah. Public remarks right here. Just use an asterisk. It can come in handy, right? Even like, so let's say you were looking for fixer uppers. I could type in the word fixer. You close it. You start with an asterisk and you close it with an asterisk right there. You see that? You use a comma, right? And you can do all types. So whatever words you're doing, you could have multiple words and any of them show up. That's going to be the results you get, right? So those can be uh, those can come in handy.
Yeah.
I like using public remarks a lot.
So I typed in I revised my search for active condominiums that are coming from MLS listings that have the words ground floor in the public remarks, and there are 30 currently 37 of them.
Okay. I wonder what about first floor as well.
Probably, and you can probably do first floor as well just to make sure.
And I wonder if I should do first. Let's see here. Oop, first and then also floor. That'll probably get a lot. Did you use first floor mark in one word? Like first
I
floor?
did ground floor 2 words.
Ground floor, 2 words? Okay. Let me try first floor and just see what
Okay.
happens. Um, and yeah, I got 0. So
Yeah.
I guess ground floor would be the way to go.
Ground floor was yeah.
So that, yeah, another way. So you can kind of get, and make sure, when you do this, make sure you deselect. You see, I wonder if
Oh,
did I,
yeah.
so I
Yes,
had,
you did.
see,
Okay.
that's going to throw a wrench in it because now it's saying, okay, I want this words in the public remarks, but they also have to have selected it. So I'm going to take that off,
And now go
right?
back up.
And first floor, and let's see what we have. 374 matches
374.
on for it. And let's do city, let's just narrow it down, San Jose, and see what we get here. So 11 in San Jose, yeah, that might be the way to go.
Yeah.
County, Santa Clara, just example, let's see what's in the whole county.
Now, Dave, there was a second part to this question, which was that Sherry put in, and she was talking about for save it and then auto email.
Oh, okay, yeah. And so let's just say, so you've done this part, right? At this point, once you've got the criteria you're happy with, right, and you want to go ahead and turn in an auto email, go to your results, and let me go to our Agent One Land display here. So go to our results, hit the save button. Yeah, always save it. It's a good idea to save it, and go and just right there, new save search, but new auto email right here. Click on new auto email, and now we'll turn it into an auto email, right? So with whatever criteria, if you use additional filters, if you use whatever, that's what it's going to use. And just go ahead and you can see here, I'll select. Oh, hey, I thought I had Mark on here. There it is, I think. There, yep, Mark. So I'm going to go ahead and select you. So you select your client, or otherwise just hit create a new contact. You just need their email address essentially. I'll BCC myself, and then message here. Let's do a subject. Just
Condos on the first floor.
right, condos on the first floor, and then you could go ahead and make, if you want, edit this message and say, hey, here's what I found for that search you want to do, blah blah blah. Make it a little more personalized,
Yeah.
if you want, and then just when do you want the results? So as soon as like you hit save, it's gonna send out those results. But then going forward, it's going to choose, it's going to send it out based off of how you selected it.
Yeah,
So
what your cadence you say the rhythm is going to be basically.
right. So, if I went ahead and did this, just as an example, so tomorrow, Tuesday, maybe a new listing pops in that matches this criteria, but it's not going to send it to my client until Wednesday,
Right.
right? And then so forth, going on that schedule. Or you could do ASAP, and that's probably best in a really, really in a tight search like this, because as soon as you get that, you're probably going to want to send it right away, and you don't have 1,000 results, obviously.
Right.
So. I can do ASAP, and then it's not going to wait. It's going to go, you know what? Something new popped in, it matched our criteria, send it right out to your client, right? And just hit save, and you're all set. You got yourself an auto email, and there we go.
And David, I'm going to go get the video for auto email and
Oh
put it
yeah, definitely.
in
Yeah, we have
the
our YouTube channel. And while I'm here, here's our video YouTube channel. Let me go to I'm actually in the back here, but let me go to our, uh, our actual channel here. And so here's our channel, right, on YouTube. And you can see here we got all our videos. So you can go to videos right here. It's going to have all our videos right here. So all these webinars we're doing, we mentioned, here's RPR. So a lot of the, um, like I said, we do work with vendors. We got our market minutes here, coffee talks, anything we do, we post here. We do a lot of work, obviously. Realists, public tax records, right? Um, but you could do this. I recommend go to playlists and take a look at the playlist, because that's a nice way you can find it, right? Everything in here, listing management. We have a playlist for listing management here. It's right here. All types of stuff on here. But you can also use this little search little button if you're looking for something. You can always type in it's very specific and see what pops out. But you can see it's a good idea if you're not a subscriber to our YouTube channel. I'd highly recommend subscribing, so that when we go ahead and post things, it notifies you and says, "Hey, look what we got there," right? And we also have, coming up here, since I think I have it up here, let me go ahead and just cue it up, Mark. A couple of things, right, coming up. Um, One, well, Mark, you work on those links.
Yep.
We have an open forum coming up, and you can see we do these last Tuesday of the month, right? And so that falls on the 30th this month at 2 p.m. And we've got our president and CEO, Dave Wetzel, going to be there. Our board chair is going to be there. They're going to be talking about, members only plus is going to be talking about a lot of the issues that we see out there right now is going to be talked about. But even better is once they're done with their presentation, 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so, we open it up to Q&A. And so if you ever had a question to ask, or, about the industry or about anything going on with MLS listings, that's the perfect time to be heard. So that's Tuesday at 2 p.m. on the 30th. And then all of July, we're doing an AI series. And so, maybe you're not too comfortable with AI. Maybe you don't like AI. That's fine. But your competitors are probably, right, are using it. So, we've got Angie Javier from Realtor.com. We got Andrea Goodhart. She's RPR. They're all fantastic presenters and speakers. Michael Thorne, the very first one here, Friday, July 10th. That's going to be the first one to kick it off. He's fantastic. And I thought I was telling Mark, I thought I was good at AI, and I realized I don't know a thing about it. I'm very beginnerish. But that's what he starts off. It is beginner, and he'll show very practical uses and it shows it very easy to use. And we will then go ahead and put that up on YouTube if you can't make it live, so you have a reference for it, because there's a lot of great information in there. So hopefully you all can don't miss the AI series in July. Definitely, that was really blew me away, is some of the things he showed on his one. I'm going to take a look at the chat, because I'm not sure if we missed any questions.
Yeah, Rick's got a great question, Dave, on the Zillow, Trulia, and Realist use AVM, automated value model. It's an algorithm. It's just the computer's doing the math. But RPR, Realtor Property Resource, uses an RVM, Realtor Value Model. And so Rick's asking,
Yeah.
if he's talking to an engineer, a techie seller or buyer, about these algorithms, what can he talk about relating to the value of that RPR RVM?
Sure. That's a great question. So typically we find that the RVM realtor valuation model, right, is a bit more accurate. And the reason why is because they use a lot more data points, right? So, RPR draws from all kinds of data, right? County tax records, it's drawn from education, it's got all types of stuff. And so it's like, they're putting a bit more ingredients into the sausage, right? So when it comes
Yeah.
out the other end, and so now I'm not saying it's the Bible by any means, and I've seen ones. Another thing to look at here is there has a confidence score on these, right? And so the confidence score, let's say it basically has 5 stars available. If it's 4 stars, then that's only 80% accuracy, right? So that's not as right. I'm really looking for 5 stars. So when you're looking at RVMs, look for those 5 stars and look for when it's been updated last, because the RVMs only update once a month, every month. And so if it's from last month and it's just about to be updated, right, that's going to have some new comps in it. It's going to be a lot more accurate than if you're using something from 3.5 weeks ago, right?
Right.
So keep an eye on right there. It tells you right there when you're looking at it. It will say that this is the amount of stars, right, for the confidence, and this is the amount of you know and this is when it was last updated as well. So that's kind of the thing. But yeah, but nothing's 100%, right? So keep that in mind. Even though I know a lot of agents, go into RPR and they might use it to say, hey, here's the number I came up with in my CMA. What does RPR think about that? How close am I to that? So some agents look kind of and see maybe they missed a comp, maybe something like those lines. Realist has a cell score attached to it, right? Another algorithm that's kind of like an AVM. It doesn't give you a dollar amount, but in Realist, what it does is it's the likelihood it believes that the property is going to be on the market in the next 6 months,
Right.
right? And so, it's just more of that kind of along the lines, right? But everyone, you go right now, you could go to a property, go and look at 5 different sites, and you're going to get 5 different
You're gonna
values,
get 5 different answers. Yeah.
right? It's almost like
Who,
a appraiser.
who knows who knows the answer? That local realtor on the street.
Right.
They,
That's in the end of the day, right? Use it to help yourself, just kind of like AI, right? Use it to make your life easier, but you never want to just take its word,
yeah.
right? Right. You want to do your own due diligence. And Amitra, I think, has their hand up. So, Amrita, did you have something? Question?
Yeah, so with the RPR, if you don't want the RVM to show up on your report on the PDF, because it may be off, how can you not show that and just show the?
Yeah, you can. So when you do RPR, a report, you can suppress it. It has a little check boxes, and if you check it when you're running a report,
In the
uh,
print process, right?
right. So when the whole thing you're building it up, right? The RPR report, basically the RPR says, "Oh, we have this, and that," and we have a whole video. I'll see if I can find it. It's in the YouTube where RPR's trainers came up, and essentially, yeah, you just select the box, uncheck it, and then it won't include the RPR in the CMA or whatever report you're doing.
And you can
So
do the same for the range also, because sometimes the range is so huge and
yeah,
you don't want the seller to.
same thing with the range. Yeah, if you want to
Okay.
get all that off of there, you can have it where it's just going to show you, none of that. So you just have to, when you're building it out, right? When you're actually choosing what you want. For instance, like you could choose, hey, do I want historical photos included? Do I want this? Do I want that? And you're kind of building it out. Um, the very front one is RP is the RVM and all that stuff in the range, and
Okay.
just make sure you suppress it, and should be gone. Shouldn't show it.
Okay. I missed the part where you showed the ground floor. Where do you get the ground floor listings?
The
Well, we've only got about a minute.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm
sure. I can do
sorry,
it
I
real
missed that.
quick here. For those of you who need to leave, no problem. Thanks for attending. Let me just go real quick here. So you can see in listing management, right? We use listing management, and we use this over here to search, right? And so we just searched for ground floor over here, the keyword, and what came up was lot description. And so in this case, lot description. So what we did is in Matrix, right? We have in our criteria down below.
Way down at the bottom there.
Yep. And so down below here, there it is. add, remove, this whole thing. You can these are the advanced filters. And so what we do is just click the add button, and we went and we typed in lot description, right, and just added it here, and then that way it's
Okay.
searchable. And so and then what you got is right here, lot description. I think, where is it? There it is, lot description, and we just filtered it by saying right here, ground floor.
Ground
There it
floor.
is.
Okay.
So that's these filters are just filters. The only drawback I was mentioned is that one doesn't seem to be a required field here. No asterisk next to it. So it's up to the listing agent to have been thorough enough to put that in there. And based on our results, we saw not all the agents were putting it in there. So we also tried and we used public remarks. And you can see we just search for ground floor or first floor, asterisk, the word you're looking for, close it with an asterisk. And that's another one, because even if they didn't check the box, a lot of times in the remarks, they'll put in a description.
Okay.
So
Is there a video showing the details of the additional fields?
yeah, I believe in our on the Matrix side in YouTube here, we see here. And if we go to let's go to
You want to pull it up,
playlist.
Dave? If you go ahead and pull that up and put it into the put it into the chat for everyone.
Gotcha. Yeah, let's see here.
We have
There
to
it
do
is.
there it is.
Custom
so
fields. Okay.
and
Thank you so
so
much.
Sure.
Thank you.
And custom displays, matrix search, auto email, additional fields right here. I'll put that in the chat. And should be all set.
There we go.
There we go.
And Dave, I'm gonna steal your share for one last item.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Do I need to close it down to you?
No, I think I'm just gonna override you. There we go.
Okay.
And there we are. So for all of these events, you've got one question, you've got a lot of questions. Dave talked about some training coming up. The pro homepage is where you want to go. And training is laid there. Training goes in a couple different places, just so it's easy to find. So certainly we're going to start off with the featured update card, which is all the events that are coming up. Dave, usually within that week or the next week out. You've got the whole upcoming training events, which can take you to our calendar or our list of classes. And then Dave, up at the very top over there on that far right-hand side on my page, I've got a training link, which will take me to the full training page.
Right. So you can always see what we got going on in training, and we always have trainings going on. So whether you're looking for a class or on-demand video, because that training page has our on-demand videos, which basically goes back to YouTube. Ask the trainer. Click on Ask the Trainer, any question you have, and we'll go ahead and get right back to you. So it's a real quick way to get support there. And thanks so much, Rick. Rick said he's ready, he's armed and ready to go.
I know, I like
dangerous.
that.
I love that. Great. That's fantastic. And so I'm glad to see as long as people leave with even one thing, I'm happy. That one maybe thing they didn't know. So Teresa says, is there a recommended process or applications as MLS, RPR, Accolades to connect to CMA? Oh, so we have a lot of different ways, probably 14. RPR has a great CMA.
Yeah.
Again, we have a video on there, YouTube. We do a foundations class every Wednesday morning, and CMA, I believe, is either the second or third Wednesday of the month. And so we do CMAs and we go through all the CMAs, and RPR is one of them. Of course, in Matrix, quick CMA is the most popular.
Yep.
And we have some new CMAs coming out. We've been promised by RPR. I shouldn't even say it because they've promised
by Cotality.
Yeah, it's when we've been waiting on this, but I think they're actually close to coming. So we'll see what happens if we have some new stuff to show off in a month or two. But quick CMA, full CMA Matrix, and then RPR seems to be the winners. And RPR is more the bells and whistles. If you got that client, you want to binder it up and have 60, 50 pages and leave it to them overnight while you do your presentation. RPR's got all the bells and whistles. If you're just looking for
all branded, it's
all
got
branded.
Your picture, your logo, the whole thing.
Yeah. So, if you want just a conversation starter to get your foot in the door, quick CMA for Matrix. Yeah.
And Dave, all of these questions, there's so many times every month you can get a hold of us. We've talked about Ask the Trainer over on the website, but Dave, you've got Coffee Talk. on the first Monday of every month, where there's an open Q&A section there. We've got the training drop in right in the middle of the month.
Right.
And that's all about come in and ask a question. And then you've got open forum at the end of the month, once again, and step into any training class. You got one question? Great.
Yeah,
Bring
yeah.
it.
I highly recommend the training, the Marksman training drop-ins we do on it's a Wednesday once a month, and it's a Wednesday around what 1, 2 p.m.
Yep.
To keep an eye on the homepage, you'll see it right there on the training card, and it's just hey, you pop on in. It's just like this. It's Q&A, right? And it's a great. We probably only get one mark, 8 to 10 people a lot of times in
I
those,
know,
so
but
it's
it's always a
smaller.
cool class.
And the point being, like, you'll get a lot of attention. So if you got
Yeah.
stuff you want to ask us, that's the time where me and Mark will be at your disposal pretty
Yep.
much for a whole hour. And anywhere you want to take us, we'll answer your questions and go on in and do it. So so really great time. But yeah, we're available a lot of different ways, or send it to ProDev, PRODEV. ProDev at MLSlistings.com goes to me or Mark, Alicia, and we'll make sure to answer. And if you have any training needs, we'll get those addressed. So definitely use that to reach out to us. All right, so I guess that's it.
I think that's
Yeah,
it, Dave.
great questions and fantastic. I love the participation. Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody. Wonderful stuff. And yeah, thanks, Rick. If you need anything, reach out. I hope you had a great Father's Day weekend. And yeah, just reach out to us at ProDev if you guys need anything at all. We're there for you. Otherwise, hope to see you at one of these trainings, especially the training drop-in.